Hey, welcome back to another exciting episode of Dr. Anton's Rock-o-Rama. I, of course, am Dr. Anton Wroblewski, and you've stumbled upon the place to be if you want to look at some really interesting rocks and sedimentary processes and even biological processes in the wild. I'm here at Glendo Reservoir again. Behind me is the reservoir. It's built on the North Platte River. And the sky, as you can see, is really smoky and cruddy looking, and that's thanks to these awful Canadian wildfires that we've unfortunately been having this year. Summer 2023 is not a really nice one in terms of weather, fires, and so on. Typically, you'd be able to see across the way and look at these beautiful outcrops of Sundance Formation. That's a Jurassic marine unit, and across the way, there's a particular part of the Sundance Formation which is called a Pine Butte Member. And the Sundance is broken up into a variety of different members based on lithology and the sediments and the fossils. And the Pine Butte is a really spectacular set of yellows and oranges and pinks and reds that come sunset, you can really see them jump out. There's a variety of interesting features in there, and most people haven't really spent too much time looking at it other than as they're cruising by in their wake boats or fishing. And for many years I did the same thing. I was guilty. I was mostly out there fishing, not necessarily looking at the rocks. But I've started looking at them, and there's some really interesting things in there. So let's jump in the boat, take a look at them, and I'll show you what I found out there. And I think you might find it kind of interesting too. Ready? Let's go.
Hiya, Bobby.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go for a ride?
Sure, Ken.
Jump in.
Here we are up close and personal with the contact between the boring, uninteresting, it's probably very interesting, but I just don't know anything about it, LAC member of the Sundance, and the very interesting, very exciting Pine Butte. Let me show you what's going on in here. I think you're going to really like it. First of all, look at that bedding. Nice little undulatory ripples. Just ripples all throughout here. This whole thing is rippled. The next thing you might notice is, oh my goodness, what are these? Little vertical tubes. Little bitty guys, and they seem to be paired. So there's a pair, there's a pair, here's a pair. Interesting. Some of them even seem to have a little round bottom. So they're sort of like the rhizocoralliums in the lower Sundance Formation in the Stockade Beaver, and some of them even have those little, what looks like sprida, just like the rhizos, except they're vertical and they're tiny. These are a trace fossil called Diplo Inferno, and they're in these really rippled, what we call heterolithic beds. So there's sand, some silty sand, sand, silty sand, sand. So you've got heterolithic beds and these little bitty U-shaped burrows. And today these things are made by amphipods, little tiny shrimp-looking things, and they make them in tidal environments. This one is beautiful. Look at that. There's the bordering tubes, and there's all the little sprida in there. Here's his buddy. There's buddies all around. Now, the fact that Diplo Inferno and heterolithic rippled beds are found in modern tidal flats gives us something to start thinking about as we're looking through the rest of these outcrops. So let's do that as we keep thinking and walking. Here's a host of other little burrows. This is a bedding surface, mind you, but there's these little almond-shaped traces that might be bivalve traces where little clams sat. There's little horizontal tubes made possibly by little worms or things. So we've got amphipods, we've got bivalves, we've got maybe little worms, maybe tidal setting. This is all coming together very interestingly. Here are some ripples on the surface, but there's big single vertical burrows like that, like that, like that are filled in with sand. Probably we would call them scolithos. Look at this. Here's an Ophiomorpha, our friend Ophiomorpha. It's got the individual pellets on the burrow. It's made by calcium acid shrimp. So we've got Ophiomorpha, we've got scolithos. We've got a whole variety of marine organisms in this heterolithic rippled environment. Just ripples and diplos galore throughout here, and heterolithic bedding. Just layer after layer representing year after year of accumulation of sediment, probably in a tidal setting. Look at those beautiful little three-dimensionally preserved Diplo Inferno. Wow. There's even some little burrows that look like Cheerios. And again, bedding plane surface, where we've got all sorts of variety of burrowing organisms in this heterolithic system. So putting together all our observations from the Pine Butte member of the Sundance Formation, we're younger than we were. Oh, I'm sliding down the hill. That's always fun, especially when the hill is a vertical drop. I'll be careful. I'm wearing very good footwear. Where was I? We looked at the lower part of the Sundance, and it's storm deposits, open ocean deposits, a lot of energy, big rhizocorallium, big thalassinoides, a lot going on in offshore storm deposited marine basins. Here, something happened in the lac. Who knows what? But by the Pine Butte time, things have changed. We're in a very strongly tidal system. Could be a tidal delta, tidal flats on an open tidal coast. Don't know that. But it's a very, very low energy tidal system with ripples. We don't see hummocks. We see regular bedding. We don't see a lot of disturbed bedding. It's not 100% bioturbated. And there's little delicate diplocraterians, ophiomorphs, and things like that that like estuarine tidal flats, estuarine tidal bars, stuff like that. Okay, we're back safe and sound on the other side of the reservoir. I didn't fall down the cliff face. I didn't break my neck. I didn't drown. That's always a plus in my book. Safety first, right? You notice the Pine Butte is a lot different than the material behind me, and I've got another video that walks you through this contact of the Canyon Springs member and the Stockade Beaver member. That's an offshore, storm-dominated open marine setting. This is a more tidal to aeolian setting, and the Pine Butte was yet a different setting. So the Sundance is a really variable system, and it should be. It lasted millions of years. Things change a lot over millions of years. So we saw in the Pine Butte member strong evidence of tidal systems. There was a lot of ripples, very strong heterogeneity, mud, sand, indicating high energy, low energy, high energy, low energy, very rhythmic. So again, we've looked at different sediments, we've looked at different trace fossils in those sediments, and from that we've been able to discern, deduce, imagine, guess at what kind of environment was producing these systems. That's a really cool thing to be able to do, is to come out, look at some rocks, make some key observations, and make a pretty informed deduction about what the environment was at the time of deposition. So this has been a fun journey down the Jurassic lane here at Glendo State Park. I'm gonna jump back in the boat, I'm gonna do some more fishing. The crappie have been biting, the walleye have been biting, even the carp have been hitting trolled crankbaits. I'll never understand that one. Thank you very much for watching. I'm gonna be doing a bunch more videos in modern systems. I'm gonna be coming back to Wyoming over the summer and doing a variety of more outcrop videos. I hope you're enjoying them as much as I'm enjoying making them. Get out, look at some rocks, take the time to learn a little bit about the environment, the ecosystems that are in existence today, how that relates to what was happening in the past. It just makes life much more enriching and makes your outdoor experience a lot more enjoyable. I hope you'll do that. Get outside, make friends with the rocks. You're gonna be really glad you did. And I'll see you next time.